that I fed Muffin, and thanks for the very generous Christmas gift.
You got an envelope? Hi, son.
Yeah, and it's way more than I deserve.
I didn't get an envelope.
There's a bunch more in the kitchen. I'll just grab yours.
Joe Bob Briggs, and it's Christmas. Or is it? What time is it? Is it officially December the 26th yet? You guys know what the day after Christmas is called in England? No. Boxing Day. Hence our next flick, Rocky IV.
Is Boxing Day really about boxing?
Nah, Boxing Day is really just another day the Limeys get off work. But it used to be the day where they boxed up stuff for the maid and the gardener and the mailman, which later became nice little envelopes like you've got there.
Speaking of mailmen, here's one for Rusty. I don't see one for you. Are you considered an employee?
I provide, yeah. I mean, keep looking. And speaking of boxing, has this ever happened to you? You're watching one of the 347 cable matches of the week, right? Let's say it's between Louis Hammerhead Santini and Frankie the Frank Franklin, right? The announcer says, Santini is wearing the diamond check trunks with gold trim and black piping. Franklin is wearing the royal blue trunks peppered with a silver fleur-de-lis cross-stitch. And you're staring at the trunks. You're thinking, what did he say? Diamonds and gold stuff on one of them and blue Frenchy stitches. Which one is Franklin? Oh, okay, that's Franklin. No, that's Santini. And it all looks like one big lasagna dinner because they have so many Kmart designer logos on their pants, and you get cross-eyed trying to figure it out. And all this time, you're noticing that one of the fighters is white and the other fighter is black. Why don't they just say Santini is the white guy and Franklin is the black guy? We can see that when a guy is boxing, you can see 90% of his skin. His trunks only take up about 5%. Now, there's some kind of politically correct reason they don't do that, right? One, they don't want us to notice that one guy's white and one guy's black. Well, I think we already have. You know when that happened? It was at the moment when we turned to the guy next to us and said, which one is Franklin, the black guy or the white guy, right? Two, they don't want to say the word black because they might get in trouble for not saying African-American. But you can't say African-American because that has nothing to do with skin color. That's just where you came from, right? Three, they think the boxing audience is so enlightened that they never, even for a moment, notice anybody's skin color. They see every single human being as exactly alike in the world of boxing. It's one of the great things about the world of this progressive, modern, new age sport. Yeah, right. Okay, remember what the Ruskies were up to when Rocky IV came out? They were shooting up their athletes with steroids so they could beat the bejabbers out of us at the Olympics next time we boycotted one. But it's one thing to use drugs for what is known in the business as mammary augmentation or trick boobs, but it's pretty disgusting to take perfectly normal human beings and wire them up to Radio Shack computers and turn them into killing machines. And that's what happens when Ivan Drago comes over to fight Rocky Balboa. So let's roll it.
Nope. Nothing with your name on it.
What about Sweetie Pie? Did you see? Are you leaving?
Yeah, I'm going to this party where you wrap up the most lame Christmas present you got and you exchange them.
That sounds like fun.
It's a blast. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Time for some Christmas grog. I the Tiger. Me and Sly. Let's do it. Okay, what's with the robot? The robot is pissing me off. Sly wrote this, right? He writes all the Rocky movies. Sly wrote that robot. I got to talk to that boy. Ask me how happy I am that I didn't fly home for Christmas this year.
How happy are you?
Even though my cousin Cletus always hits me up for money when I do go home, and Uncle Elmore gets smashed, and my sister talks my ear off about the guns on the playground or some damn thing. At least I'd be eating some of my mama's mincemeat pie right now instead of these marshmallow pinwheels or whatever the hell they are, washed down with the only thing that makes them tolerable. But we're watching Rocky IV, Dolph Lundgren's film debut, and one of the flicks that features Brigitte Nielsen, the future ex-Mrs. Sly Stallone, looking very serious in this movie. You can feel the power behind those meaningful looks of hers, can't you? All right, I didn't do the drive-in totals, did I? We have 2 breasts, Rockies, 19 gallons of blood, the 1985 record, 22 beasts, all communists, a 45 on the vomit meter, 1 dead Apollo Creed, gratuitous James Brown, Kung Fu, Robot Fu, Steroid Fu, KGB Fu, pour a bunch of water on Rocky's face and watch him sling it off Fu, 4 stars, go, back. Dolph was the Swedish kickboxing bodyguard turned fiancé of Grace Jones back in the mid-'80s. Remember that? I bet Grace Jones could kick his ass. You know what would have been a better fight than this? Grace Jones and Tina Turner. I'd pay money for that. Women's boxing is a big deal now. You know how they open the cards with that women's boxing? Kathy Bates against Rosie O'Donnell. Good match, right? Yeah. Heavyweight match, Oprah Winfrey and Mother Love.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages.
Okay, guys, who can name all of Rocky's opponents in order? First, there was Apollo Creed, right, Carl Weathers. And then there was, in Rocky II, Apollo Creed again, right, the rematch. And then, of course, there was Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T, coining the immortal phrase, I pity the fool. And plus a bunch of unnamed contenders, including Sly's brother, Frank Stallone. And if I remember correctly, Hulk Hogan. Does Rocky fight the Hulkster in one of those movies? Drop me a line, care of TNT, 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318, and refresh my memory, or email me at joebob@turner.com, or go to the website at tnt.turner.com/joebob, whatever's easiest. But in Rocky V now, the Italian Stallion fights, guys, Tommy Gunn, his own trainee. And I just heard that he is in negotiations for Rocky VI. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because he hadn't even gotten into the ring yet with Ivan Drago. So far, Sly hadn't given Dolph Lundgren a lot of lines in this flick, has he? I don't think he said anything. You guys do know that Stallone writes and directs all these, right? He wrote and directed Rocky IV. I already went into that. Sly Stallone was voted by his classmates at the age of 15 as most likely to end up in the electric chair. And when he was a kid, his parents had him tested at the Drexel Institute of Technology, where it was determined that his future calling was elevator repairman. So, and did I mention that Sly is currently getting $20 million for his role in Into Thin Air, coming out sometime next year? But at the same time, he recently gave an interview where he said he couldn't get parts in movies. He just wasn't getting any parts. Nobody's offering him any of the roles he'd like to play. Ah, don't you feel so... Let's have a fundraiser for him, you know? Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. You could raise a couple thousand in Philadelphia alone, don't you think? Okay, commercials, and then back to Rocky IV. You know something else that always burns my bacon, though? You know, that song, Eye of the Tiger? I thought Survivor should have won the Oscar for Best Song for Eye of the Tiger. But you know what song won that year that came out? Up Where You Belong. Who was that? Joe Cocker did that? Yeah, I'd like to ram him up where he belongs, you know? Survivor was an excellent 80s band. I mean, they were no Journey, but still.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages. And now back to Rocky IV on Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night.
I love it. James Brown, Vegas, the Siberian Bull against the Count of Monte Cristo. I think this is better than the book, don't you? The Rocky IV book, you can't really appreciate the whole James Brown red, white, and blue showboat sequence. You know, one of those rare cases where the film is actually better than the original literary property. You'll notice that the rockster does use the powerful tool of music to convey his message. Sly probably could have come up with some new story to put between the fights, but we love the songs, don't we? Especially the ones by Survivor, like Eye of the Tiger, of course, and the Rocky IV theme song, Burning Hearts, which we'll hear a little later. And I'm getting a headache just watching Carl Weathers get pummeled by Drago, who was a mere 7'2", 280-pound trained athlete before the Russians started working him over with hormones and turned him into a breathing caterpillar tractor. So let's get it over with, roll the commercials, and then back to the fight. You can't really look at these fights like they're real boxing matches, you know? It's like Oscar De La Hoya doesn't throw 850-pound roundhouse rights, you know? Oscar De La Hoya. What do you think of Oscar De La Hoya? You think he's good for boxing? Because he's like the guy who gave the sport... Yeah, the girl says that. Because he's the guy who gave the sport feminine appeal, right? Oh, he's so cute. I just love it when he gets all sweaty. And do you know, he knows how to salsa. And he knows how to make salsa. You know, pay-per-view meets the Lifetime Network and takes over the world. That's what that is.
More in in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages.
Okay, so Ivan Drago comes over here and turns Apollo Creed's face into a grape knee-high fountain, and Rocky has to put on a set of Ray-Bans and deliver the eulogy. There's a lot I could say about this man, but I don't guess it matters now. That's the eulogy. Followed by more Cold War insults from the Ruskies, the annual speech from Talia Shire telling Rocky that he can't win, and the best 4.5-minute homoerotic heavy metal Rocky montage ever filmed, in my opinion. Actually, they don't have to do much filming to get those. They just recycle a lot of footage from the first 3 movies. And, oh, man, it's about time. Hello? What? I can't hear you. No, there's no Chachi here. You have the wrong number. Hey, you guys having a party? 'Cause hello? There's not a damn thing going on in this town tonight, is there? I have a question about this movie. All the Rocky movies, really. What's the purpose of Burt Young in these movies? Burt Young as Paulie? You know, I mean, I love Burt. I think we should have a Burt Young Film Festival. Let's get up a group of guys and go up to Burt Young's restaurant in the Bronx. He has a restaurant there. And say, Burt, tell us just exactly what was Paulie's motivation in all the Rocky movies. Because this is Burt's big role, right? This is Burt's main gig in life. But he always looks like he's about to fall asleep.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages.
Здравствуйте. Welcome to Siberia. I think they actually filmed in Finland. This wasn't exactly the kind of script you want to show the Soviet embassy, you know? But the sign on the airport says Krasnoyarsk, which is one of the main cities in Siberia. And wasn't it the best choice for Burt Young, after all? Nothing like the singing chipmunks and a burnt marshmallow in front of a roaring Siberian fireplace. You know, I'm making light of it, but this is a serious moment, because when your best friend moonwalks to his death at the MGM Grand in Vegas, there's only one thing to be done, right? Fly to Siberia with Burt Young, leave your wife at home because she doesn't understand stupidity, and listen to Singing Chipmunks records. You guys like that line about how the weather changes every hour in Russia? You don't think that was an excuse for the weather changing during the production, do you? All right. I like the montage that's coming up, so let's get the ads out of the way and get back to it. Christmas is over as far as I'm concerned, you know. I'm gonna be like the commies, you know, those insensitive meanies who make Rocky leave his family and fight on Christmas Day. Bad commies. The fight's on Christmas Day. This is definitely a Reagan-era flick, you know. Came out the same year as Rambo First Blood Part 2. In the 60s, remember, Muhammad Ali refused to fight in Vietnam, which added some serious publicity to the anti-war movement. But Sly Rocky Rambo, he fought the commies twice in the same year. That's helping your country.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages.
Okay, so Dolph Lundgren has a gym with mood lighting, mysterious fluids shooting out of hypodermics, and shoulders the size of Wisconsin, but Rocky really knows how to get into shape. Play dog sled with his brother-in-law, chop down trees, and run up to a mountaintop, throw out your arms, and start screaming like Julie Andrews during an electrolysis treatment. Right? Those are the Grand Tetons standing in for the Russian steps, which in turn are standing in for the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum. The echo of the steps, S-T-E-P-P-E-S, that didn't get by me. Okay, let's do the ads and wrap it up. I got to start looking for a millennium party to go to next week. How come Rocky and Ivan Drago are all sweaty and the fight hadn't even started? Is that a Don King touch? Well, I must break you. That's a Don King touch. Except for the fact that there's no prize money. Definitely not a Don King touch.
More in a moment with Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and Rocky IV after these messages. Rocky IV will return on Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night and get mixed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Twins tomorrow night at 8 on TNT. And now back to Rocky IV on Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night.
Ya te bien! Ya te bien! I fight for me! So Rocky beats some people up for world peace and brings about perestroika in the Politburo and then says, we're changing. We're like turning into ordinary people. And the Ruskies chant, Rocky, Rocky. I'd buy that. That would happen. You know what was missing, though? After Rocky wins the fight, he gives the if I can change, everybody can change speech, right? And he wishes his kids a Merry Christmas. And he doesn't say anything about Apollo Creed. Wasn't the whole movie about the fact that he was there to avenge the death of Apollo Creed? Well, anyway, this was a good Christmas, wasn't it? Whew. No parties, no food, stiffed out of an employee bonus. Can't wait till next year. That's it for me, Joe Bob Briggs, reminding you that if you must choose between two evils, pick the one you've never tried before. Did you guys hear the one about the guy who goes to a pet store to buy a Christmas present for his kids? And the owner shows him puppies and kittens and hamsters and everything he's got, but the guy says he's looking for something a little unique. So the owner takes the guy into the back room and he shows him this worn-out parrot sitting on a perch. And he tells the guy, this is Chet. He's the perfect Christmas pet because he sings Christmas songs. And the owner takes a lighter out of his pocket and he holds it under Chet's right wing just far enough away to keep it from singeing the bird's feathers. Right away, Chet starts to sing, jingle bells, jingle all the way. And then the owner holds the lighter under Chet's left wing, and the bird sings, silent night, holy night. The man buys Chet, he buys Chet the parrot on the spot, takes him home. His kids are gone when he gets there, so he decides to check out Chet's talents for himself. So he lights a match, holds it under Chet's right wing, bird sings jingle bells. Holds the match under his left wing, bird sings silent night. Out of curiosity, holds the match between Chet's legs to see what'll happen. The bird sings, Chet's nuts roasting on an open fire. Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. That was a bad joke, wasn't it? That was a terrible joke. Did you guys hear about the dyslexic devil worshiper? He sold his soul to Santa.